Scooby-Doo. Mario. Don't ask me how. Hello, welcome back to another episode of TC Reviews. I guess it's now an episode. Alright, so today we are filming a review on Bride of Frankenstein. This is a box set collection, in case you're wondering, so I don't really have an image, so I will put one in post, I promise. So I am Julian, your reviewer for today, aka JJ Myers. I don't really mind you, I'll just call myself Julian, you can do that as well, so welcome. So this is going to be a pretty mighty, maybe long review, because this film is extraordinary. Now yes, I know, chronologically in the order of release, I should have filmed The Invisible Man first, but I only just got it yesterday, as well as Creature from the Black Lagoon, only on Blu-ray because 2 for $20 and it was 20% off. So $16, I figure, yes, please. So I can confirm I will be reviewing them. Abbott and Costello is still undecided. Into the review. So, Frankenstein's Bride. Another film directed by James Whale. This is actually his sequel. His other film is The Invisible Man, plus of course the original Frankenstein itself. And we shall get straight into acting. That's how we did it. Alright, so Colin Clive reprises his role as Dr. Frankenstein. There isn't much to add. If you've seen my Frankenstein review, which I suggest you see that before this, and now hopefully you're back, unless you've already seen it. So yeah, Colin Clive, his performance is just as good as before. I think he's a lot more maniacal in the previous one, but that's because he's just, fueled by this power, this godlike power. This time, he still has that effect, especially by the end of the film when they create the bride, but throughout the rest of the film he's very sick and very ill. So yes, the ending to the original Frankenstein and the beginning of Frankenstein's Bride is a bit different, but it works, in my opinion. It doesn't take too much away from it. Some of the actors are different, yes, but you've got the main two, you've got Karloff and you've got Clive. It's really all you need. To continue with Karloff, Boris Karloff as the monster, just as horrifying as before. A lot more sympathetic now, but because he still has this brain of a killer, he still kills uncontrollably, because if someone defies him or screams at him or hates him or whatever, he will kill them. Well, unless it's like a female who screams at him, because then he's like, oh, I don't mean to hurt you, I don't mean to be scary, I just want a friend, I want to be loved. And that's very much what this film is about. The film is about Frankenstein's monster being loved. And he does that. That happens. He meets this blind man who teaches him how to speak English, instead of these grunts and groans. He meets the next character, actually, Dr. Pretorius, played by Ernest Fessinger, who is a perfect addition to this film, a very, very much even more mad scientist than Clive's character, who finds Frankenstein's monster in the catacombs of all places, when he's already partially drunk, laughing at a skull and crossbones, pretty much, and they become decent friends as well. So it's about this connectiveness between people, and that's one of the main themes throughout the whole entire film, about love and connectedness and friendship. Of course, you still have the past themes still playing up from the original, being those of fear and those of discrimination, of attacking the outsider. And that is obviously seen through the mob attacking Frankenstein's monster both times, in the original and in the sequel. I was about to say remake there. That's not right. Lastly, we have Elsa Lanchester, who is perfect as both the bride and as Mary Shelley. She plays Mary Shelley at the start of the film, and which is a way to interweave, like, because the original book had both Frankenstein's monster and the bride, and the film acts as if it was only the first film was its own book. And so she's like, okay, well, this is my plan for the second book, and I'm going to haunt you with it and make you scared and whatever. Of course, she's not talking to the audience, she's talking to her friends who were scared by the original novel. And she plays the bride, and she's I will give you a heads up. The bride is not in it for very long. She's maybe only in it for 2-3 minutes tops. But her performance is legendary to the point of so memorable, and it's amazing. The makeup, the character, all the screams and shrieks. Her character, of course, is made to be the love interest for Frankenstein's monster. But she kind of seems to be safe with Frankenstein. Like she's like, I want to be with you because you're handsome and you're you know, you look normal, and I think you're someone who can make me safe. Especially when the monster comes along and he's like, you will be my friend and my bride, and she's like, no, and he realizes, you know, it makes him sad because, you know, the woman that was made to be with him doesn't want to be with him. And it's an interesting little thing, like, to end the film on. Of course, it's not the direct end, but still. So I guess, spoilers? I don't know, it's not a film. You should probably know the story by now. That's why I don't cover the story in these reviews. So onto directing. James Whale, it's a masterful sequel. It's even better than the first one. I watched the documentary afterwards, the She's Alive, and it definitely explores how this film is very much, if you look like the Auteur Theory, for example, James Whale is definitely seen in this film. Like, every aspect of this film has something to do with the director at hand. That's obviously seen again in the original Frankenstein, and I'm expecting it to be in The Invisible Man, as they state in this documentary, that you can see it collecting, but this is like the Bride of Frankenstein is that peak moment where it's so much of him, it's watching, they say that watching this film is like being in a room with what's his name? with Whale, and talking with him, and being in his presence. Writing, it's magnificently written. It's very enjoyable. The little intertextuality with Mary Shelley's the performance of Mary Shelley is brilliant and is so nicely interweaved. And they even have a little expositional part where her friend is saying like, oh, the part where the monster does this and like that. And of course, they recap the whole entire first film, but it's not meant to be seen as this big expositional piece. It's meant to be seen as these are like the themes and the horror of the first one, and we're going to intensify that in the sequel. That's what it is. I've got to do thumbnails nowadays, I'm sorry. Anyway, it still goes into themes like discrimination and loneliness. They seem to be the key themes. The creation is still there, and I'll get to that shortly. Does it hold up? Yes. Definitely. Even, it holds up more than the original. Jack Pierce's makeup effects are phenomenal. Like the original, but even better now. It's expanded more to one, not just one, but two creatures. And even Frankenstein, the monster himself, looks different from after the mill caught fire and, you know, all that happened at the end of the first film. Which this film picks up right after, kind of. As if, like, the last 2 minutes of the original film never happened. And, you know, Frankenstein wasn't well and all that, and the Baron was alive at the end. Mysteriously died in between films. My only criticism of the film. Just a little narrative tweaks. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to make a film, sometimes. So set designs are absolutely beautiful. The costumes are wonderful. It definitely holds up. It's fantastically shot, especially when the bride, the whole scene of, like, the whole lightning scene of the bride coming to life and all that. It's brilliantly shot, and it's wonderful. It is nothing like you will see in any of these other films. So if you're going to watch any of these films, at least please watch the first Frankenstein. But Frankenstein's Bride is perfect to really end it with. The others you probably just watch mainly for the characters, to see how they're portrayed and the effects. That's really all I can justify for the others. I mean, they're still great films. They're nicely written. They're very good for the time period. But these two are exceptional pieces. The expressionistic landscapes are fantastic. And the sets as well. It's got wonderful characters and effects. And a beautiful musical score, which was unlike the first film. I think the first film did have musical parts to it. We have now been invaded by a dog. You right, Kel? Hello? If you bark at me, I'm going to kick you out. Not literally. Anyway, overall feel. you have further sympathy for the monster, that's for sure. It definitely adds. So pretty much this film adds to everything that was in the original. You've got wonderful. It's thematically the film is wonderful. It adds more themes and it's not a mess. It's everything there suits the purpose of it being there and it's beautifully done. Yes, there are a lot of counted angles by the end of the film, and they're weirdly done. Like it's a back and forth of counted angles between the mad scientists, and it's meant to really say that they've gone mad, so mad that the camera has gone crooked. So it's absolutely excellent. Finally, rewatchability. Is it rewatchable? Yes. Oh my god, yes. Stop it. Yes, oh my god, yes. The themes are amazing, the characters are amazing, the makeup, the sets, the story, the direction. Every little piece of this film is fantastic. It makes it worth watching. Even just how iconic the imagery is and how iconic the characters and the creatures are. The Bride of Frankenstein, hardly in the film, but so memorable. I mean, look at that. I'm assuming there's a picture here. If there isn't, that'll be awkward. Yeah, it's a masterpiece of a film, much better than the original, which can seem hard to say. A lot of films, are the sequels better than the original? Yes. Not all of them. This one is. Bride of Frankenstein, definitely up there as one of the best sequels of all time. One of the best monster movies of all time, to be honest. Probably actually the best Universal monster movie. That's still to be decided, but I think probably by the end of it, maybe by the end of my review of Creature from the Black Lagoon, I'll be saying, yeah, Bride was the best. No, I'm not saying that I'm going to put down the rest of them. I'm still going to review them honestly and how I see them and what I know of them and all that. But yeah, I think the film is fantastic. Definitely take a watch of it. If you haven't seen my previous reviews on The Mummy, Dracula, and the original Frankenstein, feel free to. There'll be a link to the reviews playlist in the description. Other than that, feel free to like, share, subscribe for more, and watch more TC reviews. They're here when you need them. Adios. Yes, now we get to watch the Invisible Man. That's going to be exceptional. Let's go.